Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Figma Hulk from the first Avengers movie. Finally, it's out. It seems like it's taken forever. I mean, we've already gone through a bunch of other Avengers movies or related movies, but we finally have the Hulk. And I have to say, for the most part, it was worth the wait. It's a really nice looking figure. It's got a really cool paint job, though it's fairly simple. And it just looks really nice. It does have some issues. We're going to talk about those. But I'm very pleased with the figure, and I think you guys will be too. So let's get it off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 8 inches tall, which makes him just about, right around 20 centimeters, pretty close to that. And he only has 2 accessories, and you're actually looking at him already. He comes with the loose hands in the package, and then he has the fist hands / gripping hands as accessories. So only total of 4 hands, and that's it. There is a tool for positioning his eyes because his eyes are articulated, but that's not really an accessory. So I think it would have been nicer to have an alternate head, maybe with an open mouth or a closed mouth or something. That would definitely be a good thing. But the figure is pretty nice. And before we go on, I want to point out I don't have the other Hulk to compare it to. It's already packed up for my move, so I can't do that. But I do have a couple of other things we can compare it to just for size. We have the new SH Figuarts Ant-Man. And then we have the Marvel Legends battle-damaged Iron Man from Civil War. And we have the Spider-Man that goes with that set. So he's a little bit shorter than Ant-Man. Size-wise, I think Hulk's okay. I mean, it's a pretty solid figure. So I'm okay with it. I think he's well enough scaled that it'll definitely do. It'll be okay. So this guy, the paint job, I love it. His skin looks so nice. It's got such subtle shading and it's not glossy at all. So it looks almost like real Hulk flesh. Very happy about it. I like it a whole bunch. The pants, they have that same kind of finish, but no shading or anything, or detail. So that's a bit disappointing. It's kind of indicative of how Figma works, but it could definitely be better. The paint works good on the face. The sculpt is good on the face for the most part. It's way, way, way more accurate than the Figuarts one, so that's a good thing. And like I said, the eyes are articulated. All you have to do is pop the face off, if I can do it. And then you can just move those little pegs around with the tool that's provided. So you can spin the eyes, and they look pretty good. The only thing that bugs me a little bit about the face is it's very asymmetrical. His left eye, the one on the right side of the screen, is set deeper and lower than the other one. So it's not ideal, but it's not something most people would even notice, so I wouldn't really worry about it too much. I do really like the paintwork on the mouth, though. That's nice. And then, of course, like I said, the sculpt work is so much better than what we've seen in the past. Pretty much from any company. It looks really good, so I'm happy about that. So the only thing left to do is to talk about articulation. You guys know Figmas are kind of odd when it comes to some articulation, so some of this is going to be really surprisingly good, and then some of it is going to be a little bit problematic. So let's just go through it. The head is on a weird kind of hinge. This thing here rocks forward and back, so it looks weird, but it's effective. And then we have our standard Figma ball hinge that pegs into that, which you can't really do too much with it because of how the head sits. So you have to pop the head off to pose it, but it does afford nice range of motion, and it looks good almost always. So I'm pretty happy about the neck and head area. That's good. The shoulders are fixed ball hinges, surprisingly. They go all the way out to the side and up even a little bit higher than horizontal, so I'm really happy about that. It's a really nice design. I'm not sure why they went with that particular type of engineering. I think they could have filled out the gaps a little bit better, but that's hardly anything to worry about. You can barely tell that they're there. And of course, it rotates all the way around, so that's pretty good. Now, for the elbow, we just have a single hinge right there. And it looks good from that angle. You can see it's kind of seamless. That looks all right. And it looks good if it's straight down. But as soon as you start to bend it, the way they have that offset kind of sculpt, it loses a lot of its look. And it's not so bad on the backside, but it's not great. So I'm not sure why they didn't go with something that was a little more smooth. It's not terrible, but it is something to consider. And then you can rotate the arm around at the elbow if you want to do that. Now, we have a ball peg with a peg for the wrist. It's a ball peg in here so it moves around, and then it's just a straight peg for the wrist. So it's essentially a single ball peg. The thing is, as you're trying to put the hand in, you can apply some force outward on this, and it comes right off, which isn't altogether strange for a Figma. Their joints are designed to come apart easily so they don't break, but it does come off as you're putting the hands on, so sometimes it might. It depends on how you hold the figure, of course. Sometimes it's a bit of an issue, but it's nothing I would really worry about. I'd rather have it come apart like that than have it break. And it's not like it's going to fall off while you're posing it or anything. It's just if you're pulling on it, it might come off. So I don't mind it. It's not a big deal. The sculpt for the torso, I'm not sure he's supposed to be quite so ripped. I think he's supposed to be a little more, not chubby, but less, a higher body fat, I guess. You guys know what I'm talking about. He's got a really nice six-pack here, and I don't think Hulk had that, but it's not that big of a deal. And his pecs are maybe a little bit narrow. Again, not a big deal. We have a single ball peg down here. It doesn't afford the best range of motion because it sits pretty low into the belt area, and then the legs go pretty high up into it, so they kind of bump into each other. So if you're looking for a really diverse posing option for the torso, you're probably not going to get it. Now, for the hips, we have that issue where they come apart again. We have just a ball peg in the hip, which is fine. It's not as good as the figure arts one. It doesn't afford the best range of motion, but you can move the hip all the way around on that ball peg, and this comes apart like this. So if it does, just put it back together. No big deal. It's not going to break, so that's a good thing. Okay, so once the leg is on and not disconnected, it doesn't come that far forward. It's pretty limited. So range of motion, not nearly as good as on the figure arts. Doesn't go back very far. Goes out to the side at a weird angle, so it's okay. It's probably going to be enough for Hulk, but it's definitely not as good as it could be. Now for the knee, it looks really good from the front. And when you bend it, it still doesn't look bad. It's all right. And it looks good like that too, but if you look at it from behind, normally it's definitely a little odd that the pants are just missing. So again, it could be better, but it's functional, so it's kind of like a you win some, you lose some type of deal. For the ankles, we just have our standard Figma hinge, which is huge, but it's still the same type of hinge. You get really good range out of it. It's really stiff, so the figure's not going to have any problem, and you get your ankle rocker out of it, so that's pretty good. Now, you do have a toe hinge, which is okay, but it's a really ugly hinge. I don't know why they did that. It looks like they didn't sculpt it to look good. It's like two different people sculpted the two parts and then put it together. So it definitely doesn't look good, but it's functional enough. So all in all, this figure has some things that are really nice and some things that are a little bit questionable, but I think it's a really nice one. I'm happy with it. All in all, I'm very pleased with it, and it's probably, short of a Hot Toys figure, it's probably the best Hulk we've seen so far, so I'm pretty happy overall. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day. We talk about action figures, custom figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff, so make sure you come back for that, and in the meantime, keep collecting.